feel that I have to always say something positive. I have to show that I'm every time okay.
Welcome to Opinions. The rules are simple. Step forward if you agree, stay where you are if you disagree. Have fun!
Say you expect that, okay, my weekends are untouched, but then you have an assignment that's due on Monday and then you have to do it on the weekend. You feel quite stressed out and quite unhappy when you're, doing the work over the weekend. So I think having that expectation of having a balanced life with work may lead to extra stress and unhappiness sometimes.
So this is something that really happened to me personally. I had a client that had very, very high expectations of me because I was the one that was liaising with them. And she actually called me after work hours when I was spending time with my family. And that really, really affected the entire outing because I was out with my husband and my child. And she was basically shouting at me over the phone after hours on a Friday night. It really, really affected me emotionally. And during that period of time, about 1 year, when I was servicing this client, right, actually it affected my health. That was, I don't ever want to wish this on anybody. Yeah, it was horrible.
So I think technology is definitely an enabler of collaboration. So I'm in business development and sales, and I work with the editorial team, with my graphics team to come pitch and with the proposal deck, everything. So having a live collaborative document has been life-changing, right? Because everything's real time now. I can check on them via message. I can leave comments for them. It's done the next day. So I think working in a hybrid workplace now, I think we have the tools that allow us to really collaborate.
So recently we had this project that is cross-category because we have file sharing, so everyone can edit, and then even if someone is sharing screen, we always request control to share a specific part of the project that you are focused on. Yeah, so I think technology has made it much easier.
I think it's definitely important for a big company, especially when you're just starting out in the company. So actually when I just joined, the portal is what helped me to find out a lot about other people as well as the brands that we work on and what kind of work everyone is doing and things like that. I spent quite a bit of time on it within my first week. But I feel after that, at least for me, I don't feel any reason to go back to this intranet because it's more informative, it's not very interactive.
For my company, there is a portal for all the employees from all over the world. But I think the only issue is we are spoiled by the choice, but we don't have the time to really go to read up all these updates.
For myself, I think that it doesn't feel necessary at the moment, personally for myself. Because my company is pretty small, and so when we communicate with each other, it's either through phone calls or we message each other or email. Yeah, so we don't really have a central portal, to do all these things. I think that if, let's say, my company were to get bigger, which I hope it does, yes, then I feel that it would be necessary because then there are a lot more people that I'll need to, in a sense, take care of. And I don't think I'll be able to do that if I'm messaging people one by one kind of thing, right? Yeah, it's not going to be as efficient.
This is something that really happened. My employee had a chronic eye problem, and in design you need your eyes. And I only found out about it when we went back to the office after months, of working from home. When I heard this, I was almost kind of, okay, I know it's a bit exaggerated, but actually kind of a bit heartbroken, because it's so sad that you are a designer, you rely on your eyes so much. And furthermore, he said that the reason why he's been having this chronic eye problem is due to stress. It's because he's looking at the computer so often. And I had no idea. Only until we stepped into the office, then I realized, something his eyes is not quite right. And then I started asking him about this.
So there was this period of time where, because It was very stressful and I didn't know what was the expectation of me, so I ended up like staying out until very late, working over the weekends. Almost every single weekday I was working past the office hour. But I feel like I got out of it already, but there was this period where it was really tough for me. So how I got out of it was I actually read like some books on it, and then there was one that said choose your battles wisely. So it really like kind of make me feel like, oh, like I'm enlightened, like some things you should focus on and some things you shouldn't. So it helps me regulate like the mental aspect.
Just to touch on annual leave, when you take the leave, your colleagues know that you're at home and they can contact you. So to me, it's like, what's the difference when me going on leave when I still think about work? I actually went through a little bit of a breakdown because we were short-handed and I was the only senior employee. And I put a lot of burden on myself because I felt like I'm responsible and I did not want to stop. I put in hours, weekends, and I slowly tell myself, like, if I keep doing this, I'm a machine. And if I solve one project, another one will come in. So it will never end. Then I realized I need to do something about it. So I forced myself to, go for a yoga or just pull myself out, just have a walk at the beach. And it just helped a lot. But I'm still in progress, still working on that. Yeah.
During afternoon, which typically is part of the so-called working hours of the day, I find that I'm not productive, I take a break, but I always come back to it even sometimes after work. I've been lucky enough to be able to apportion when I want to be productive, when I can be productive, and when I don't really have to be. So I think it's about also drawing a very clear line. I think there are certain days where you wake up and you feel you're ready to take on the world, then you put in more work, sometimes I even skip lunch, and there are certain days where you're just dragging your feet, and I think it's okay to have that, with the end goal in mind.
I'm talking about my department. For sure, we'll definitely have to rethink about how we work currently and how we can work in the future going forward to support other teams. And overall, right, for the organization, I think the senior leaders have to also think about how we can work together with the executives, because I feel that everyone is impacted. That is why we are having this strain, chasing one another, feeling that you have to do more and never enough.
Who knows what tomorrow is going to bring? There's new technology. There'll be constant revisits into how we can use all these various resources, right? It's something that will constantly be revisited. And I feel that's kind of good because while COVID is not good, but I think this has really given a very strong push for companies to really think about this.
Okay, I think in my job, a large part of it is to do with research. So I think that for technology today, that helps a lot. When we can compile, right, large amounts of information and then you look at it at one go. So I think that it really, really helps in our world today.
It's just so much easier to reach out to a colleague who's in that area of expertise, so if it's design or if it's like my editorial team who I need to get some insights from. But maybe I don't know who the right person is to speak to. I don't have to go from one person to another person. It would just be much easier if I could just go to a platform and just figure out who owns what. Yeah.
Like there's a lot of emphasis on like your value add in any organization is based on the skills you have but you can bring to the table, and I think there's a lot of emphasis recently on upskilling, reskilling, especially given COVID, because a lot of people have been retrenched also. So like reskilling, upskilling for new job roles has been highlighted a lot. So I think that is definitely that pressure. Like for example, data literacy is a very big thing now. So you do feel like kind of pressured to make yourself data literate at the very least.
Surprisingly, no. Even though I think I'm possibly the oldest one here, I think you can pick up things if you give yourself an open mind. But one thing that we really practice is the fact that we try and look for the skill set of the person. What is the strong suit? While some people are generally going to be weak in certain areas, the idea is not to force a round peg into a square hole. There will always be a role that would still be beneficial to the company and not feel like the person is going to get worried that the person is going to get the sack.
When people look for a job, they're looking not just for an employee to get a pay slip. It's all about work-life integration, right? And a massive part of that is upskilling. And if you want an employee to stay with you, the organization needs to provide upskilling opportunities so that you can grow with the company as well.
Employee is an important resources to the company. So same task, if you are giving to an employee that have the skill level, they can complete it within a faster time, Yeah, but if the skill level is not there, then the employee will feel stressed and take more times to complete the task that's given.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot more that businesses can do, especially in the area of like mental well-being, because it's like kind of like more not so talked about. So providing resources to employees who may be feeling like very anxious at work or maybe even isolated, I think that would be good. And I think just Shireen also mentioned that her company will have like fitness courses and stuff. And I do think that actually, like, even though I'm not a huge like gym rat by any measure, being physical does help you in a better headspace also. So companies could try to like incorporate physical wellness as well.
I think it really helps to have someone to talk to that is out of your department. In my current company, they basically have this people team, and I was actually pleasantly surprised when they like arranged a call with me just to like check in on how I'm doing and things like that. So I think this is really nice because like at my previous job, the only person you can really like talk to is your manager, and I don't want to go and like complain to her because I don't want her to think like I'm complaining or I'm incompetent, I can't do the work or something. But when someone else like is asking you about it and like trying to check in on you and make sure you're doing okay, I just think it's like a safer space because you don't necessarily have to feel like, oh, you can't say certain things since you're not putting your relationship with this person at stake, but instead this person is there to like help you and see if there's anything that the company can do better for you. I know a lot of my friends like in their companies, they don't have this, which is why they just like kind of keep things to themselves. They don't tell anyone that they are struggling or they're going through this.
I think there's also a stigma because like the moment you say that, you are tired or you don't feel so good mentally, right? Immediately people will say, you're weak, you're just being lazy, you first world problem, right? So, but I think that in our society, it's very stressful. And a lot of people underestimate the amount of pressure and stress that we have in our life and in our work life also. You have to be working every single moment. You have to appear strong every second of the day. And I think what companies could do for their employees is perhaps maybe provide them a platform, maybe something anonymous where they could talk to someone, perhaps message someone if they're feeling down or they're feeling frustrated so that there's an outlet for them to vent. I think that is important. Yeah.
I feel that I have to always say some positive. I have to show that I'm every time okay, which I thought, why? Can I have someone that I can talk to about the company, which I am actually not okay, or I can say some negative remarks because this is just where I need help. So I feel that that's a problem here, that I have to always say something positive.
Yeah, there's a lot of platforms for us to interact with one another, and like I mentioned, like video calls or like online lessons, which can be helpful. Yeah.
I think with technology, it's about recreating those moments in real life. We have interaction with people, right? So just pinging someone and saying how are you, I think that does a lot for someone who's having a bad day.
Technology helps to connect in various ways, but I think companies have to be really mindful that whether is it a phone call every now and then or to actually disseminate down to the managers and the supervisors to make sure that other than the work and the deadlines and the projects that you have to fulfill, that occasionally just have that conversation. Well, we may be more experienced doesn't mean that we're actually stronger up here and actually in here as well. I think we're all a little bit vulnerable. I think when you do that, I think it helps the employees to kind of be a little bit more open.
Although I'm a person who prefers face-to-face interaction, when it comes to talking about difficult topics like mental well-being, especially if it's negative, it's hard to have these conversations with people because you feel very vulnerable with them. And I also feel like a lot of companies have these like feedback forms and things like that, like surveys, but the problem is there is no confidentiality. Like that they know who you are, and they can see exactly what you're writing about your own colleagues or your own managers. So I think this kind of prevents people from being completely honest and like maybe talking about things that they're struggling with. But what if like there was basically like a platform or something where they can submit feedback and they know that it is going to be anonymous. But of course this feedback shouldn't be there just for fun, like it should be acted upon. But at least there's a place for these people to dump their negative emotions and their negative feelings without having to feel like they're complaining or that they are putting themselves in a difficult position with like their superiors.
Alright, that was the last question. Thank you everyone. It's a wrap. Yay.